Hey, what's up, guys? This is Adrian Johnson here on Inazuma Tech, the inaugural episode of Inazuma Tech here on the Inazuma Studios channel. And I wanted to kick off this series of episodes with a very prevalent topic of that concerns a lot of younger, perhaps some of our younger viewers in terms of, their future education, getting out there in the workforce, especially if you're a creative person. And that topic is art school right for you? And, there are a lot of factors that go into that, and, to each or her own, in terms of deciding their particular endeavor. But I wanted to perhaps offer a few points if I could. And this will be a two-part episode. The first part here will be the pros of, going to art school. What are the positives of going to art school? Of which there are quite a few. And then part two, which will be broadcast shortly, will be the cons of going to art school. What are some of the perhaps some of the pitfalls, unfortunately, that you may need to consider, in deciding whether or not to go to art school, and anything like that. Any type of higher education is something that you should take very seriously, because it will determine, if not the rest of your life, a very good chunk of it, because you'll be devoting several years of your life towards that particular endeavor. So without further ado, I got five reasons why you should go to art school. Let's get ready to count them down. Number one, you have a desire, a passion to create art. That can't be overstated enough. Just really having the desire to go and seek further education, to learn how to become an expert in what you are doing. That's something that we all should strive for, regardless of our profession or personal station in life. You want to be proficient. You want to be able to, whatever your mind conceives, you want to be able to have that show out tangibly on paper or on the web or what have you, whatever you want to do. And that's something that art school can train your mind and train your hand to do, and that's something that, cannot be discounted, in any regard, and when you go to art school and you receive that training, they really present you with the tools that you'll need to, really, make your dreams come true, so to speak. And, you can't beat having that in addition to being around other like-minded people who have the same drive, and same passion that you do to create, great artwork or great creative, projects or whatever. So just going there and learning how to think as a creative person, or to enhance your thinking further, to hone it to the utmost degree, that's something that art school can definitely help you with. So that's number one. Number two is the research, quite frankly. Because there are a lot of people, especially some of our younger viewers, who there was a time, believe it or not, where you had to do some legwork in order to find out about certain artists, or to find out about, materials and so forth, So a lot of you guys have it very easy today in terms of being able to simply Google whatever it is that you're looking for, and to instantly have that information at a snap of a finger, quite literally. And going to art school actually is something that would further enhance that. So you wouldn't necessarily go there not just to do research on, well, how do I do this? How do I make, this thing happen? But, you would also get an education. If it's a quality school with quality instructors, you would also get an education on the breadth and history of art. which is something that, I think a lot of institutions don't give enough time to explaining, because a lot of times, people will see, okay, well, you have Andy Warhol or whomever, and you hear about these different movements and artists, but you don't know who they are necessarily and why they're important. Why is Michelangelo or Caravaggio, why are they important? Where do they fall within this whole breadth of history, of art history? Because the more you know about what came before, believe it or not, even something as perhaps disparate as Caravaggio will inform you today, especially if you're a digital painter. You have to kind of study the whole history of painting, because it'll inform what you're doing today, whether you're a digital painter or an actual painter, an illustrator, comic book artist, what have you. Knowing the history and being able to have that history presented to you and to further your research into it inside of an institution dedicated to doing just that, that's very invaluable as well. So research would be number 2. Number 3, having new experiences, quality experiences that will be brand new to you in regards to your quest to learn more about how to create, how to become proficient in what it is that you're doing. And new experiences abound. Such as, meeting new people, like-minded people who want the same thing, but may also have different interests and can introduce you to what they're interested in, and then you can introduce them to what you're interested in. And so you have this creative exchange, so to speak. And just if everyone there is doing that, you have this kind of incubator of creativity that really makes people want to explore different things. Or, hey, I never thought about, photography this way. Or that person may look at you and say, hey, I've never thought about illustration that way, and, somewhere in the twain, the two can meet, or, you can find an offshoot or just really expand your mind. So it's new experiences in terms of meeting new people, in terms of, finding out more about, the whole universe, so to speak, of just being a creative, and that's very helpful. And, that's something that you can put into your toolbox. There have been plenty of times where I look back on when I was in art school, and I came in there basically determined to solely be a comic book artist. I went to art school initially just wanting to, learn anatomy and learn how to draw so I could be a comic book artist. That's it, bar none. But once I got there and got around other people, some of which wanted to do comic books, of course, there were a great number of people that wanted to do comic books, but there were other people that wanted to do fashion illustration, who wanted to do, regular illustration, graphic design. And, when you're hanging out with them, you guys might be taking the same course, but you have varying interests, and being around others, you glean off of them, and you might find something else that interests you, and you go off into another direction that maybe or maybe not, that you can bring back to what you're doing. But it never hurts to find out about that other thing. So new experiences is number 3. Number 4, there are a great many schools and institutions now, both brick and mortar and online, that offer specialized courses with actual professionals who have been doing, the particular work that you're looking to get into for decades. And that's more than I can say that it had been within, the last 20 years since I was in art school. You have institutions such as the Ringling School in Florida. You have the Joe Kubert School, if you're into comics and want to be a comic book artist. You have the Joe Kubert School, which has been open since the 70s, but has really, gotten quite a movement, since then, in terms of turning out, students going pretty much ready-made into the comic book industry. You also have the Bethany College of Applied Arts out there in Missouri, with quality instructors, tons and tons of, people who have done this thing, and can really offer you not just the instruction experience, but also their personal experiences, and that is something I keep going back to this word. It is invaluable. And, that's something that art school can give you. All of these things which are just so invaluable that you can actually just take in and, take with you once you leave school. And then perhaps someday you'll be able to be one of these professors or instructors at a course, and you'll be able to relay your experiences to a whole other generation. And just having that specialized instruction as well, that's not something that was really prevalent, even 20 years ago. With the onset of online instructions, and online courses, that actually you can get college credits from, it's just something that's really become a wonderful resource in and to itself. So you can sit in the privacy and the comfort of your own home and complete these courses, with these instructors who know what they're talking about, have industry experience, and hey, you probably have seen some of their work. So imagine that you're actually with these instructors, that know their work, and they're able to give their instruction to you personally and others in a very controlled, tight group. So you get more out of what they're, giving to you. So, definitely number 4, specialized courses. And then number 5 is getting a degree. That's one of those American dreams. You grow up, you do this, you do that, and you graduate with a college degree. Going through 4 or more years of higher education and coming out on the other side with a degree, that is something to not be taken lightly. There is a lot of sacrifice. There is a lot of, late nights. There is a lot of hard work, quite frankly, that goes into getting a degree. From any college for the most part. So, if you want to get that degree and have that in hand for when you do enter, the real world or go out into the workforce, nothing can beat that, and that's something that you can say, hey, I did this, and hopefully once you do, you will be proficient and an expert in whatever field of endeavor that you are about to impart on, So I just wanted to outline kind of like those 5, reasons off the top of my head, so to speak, or, actually on my list. But I'm sure there are more reasons that you can consider, and the best thing I can say is, if you do decide that art school is for you, go ahead and do your research. Don't just, jump out there and say, hey, I'm going to go here. If you're looking to get into a certain field, research what schools offer specialized courses towards that field, because that's one of the mistakes that I made in going to the Art Institute of Atlanta. When I was 19, I just wanted to go to art school, and when I got there was a huge part of me that felt like, wow, after that first year, there really wasn't anything being offered to me that would help me to be, a comic book artist. Or by the end of that first year, my, kind of like, I had expanded into, hey, I want to be an illustrator as well. And there were very few courses then that were helping me to that particular degree. So had I the decision to make today, if I wanted to go to art school, the field is much broader and much more specialized in terms of finding, the institution or courses online that are going to be right for you. So do your due diligence, Find out what you can about several different options, price wise, location wise, from your hometown to, there. What are the resources, near the school itself, if you're going to an actual brick and mortar school, or if you're taking an online course, what's the schedule like? Are there any books involved? These are all questions that you should consider when you're trying to pursue the institution or online course that is going to be right for you in order to further your art education. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys. Stay tuned for part 2, which will be, unfortunately, the cons of going to art school. So chew on that. Stay tuned. I'll see you guys on the flip side. I'm Adrian Johnson, and this has been an episode of Inazuma Tech.